Facebook group, I want to touch on this because I have seen it pop up now and again. Steve said, "Hi team, about to retire and having problems getting through to Australian Super. Over 1 hour wait for advice and 5 weeks to book a specialist appointment with their financial advisor. I tried Aware Super and got through in 2 minutes and booked an advisor in 10 days' time. They were excellent to deal with. Appreciate any opinions on Aware Super as I'm thinking of moving my funds into pension phase to them. Thank you." Now, I will just say, over the years, we've done paid campaigns with Aware Super and probably Australian Super. So I'll just disclose that I've probably received money from both of those funds. But it's not necessarily about those funds per se. I want to talk about the concept of, if you want a fast response bespoke service,
pay for it.
You will pay for it. If you want low cost, your financial advisor is in the super fund and there's 1 million members, there may be some delay.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a trade-off that...
And maybe it speaks to intra-fund advice as well.
So a couple of things here. I mean, there's a trade-off that all of the big funds have to make here between cost and service levels. And so do you want to make 3 million members pay an extra $10 a week so that you can have a 1-day response time or a 5-minute call pickup on those odd occasions where you're going to have to do this? And so that's trade-off number one. The second thing I would say is that this sort of, most of the big funds erred on the cost-saving side, and many of them have outsourced their call centres. So it doesn't surprise me, the experience that you had with Australian Super. And so...
And to add insult to injury, there is half the financial advisors in Australia than what there were 6 years ago.
Yep.
So there is a shortage of actual advisors.
Now, the second point I would make is that given the number of times you need to have these calls in your life, response time is probably not number one on your list of criteria for choosing a fund, especially if you're about to move into retirement.
Yeah.
So how you manage the withdrawals from your account-based pension is a much bigger determinant of the outcome. So I don't condone those sort of wait times, but there is a price trade-off here.
But there's also, and this is why I really wanted to touch on this. So every single company at the moment seems to be doing some super rating or review or score system, whether it's the Vince Scully 5-star accredited fund and all this CanStar and blah, blah, blah. I don't love these ratings because what actually matters with my superannuation and my parents' superannuation, what's the money invested in? Will there be liquidity? Can they run the friggin' fund? Number one, is there transparency? Is there any issues with doing withdrawals and all that? The problem I have with some of these CanStars and Chant West and Finder and I think the lady who does Epic Retirement, she's got her own scoring
there's some
system
retirement influencer who's just launched one.
The problem is they're rating funds on metrics like call times and call center response that, quite frankly, I don't think matter.
Yeah. I mean, they mattered when you're making the call.
That's right.
But over their life, they don't.
I want a fund that's going to process my withdrawal of $10,000 for my trip within 3 days, and there's cash going to be there.
I mean, maybe they should introduce a $500 fee for a personal call, and so that those who use the resources pay for it.
Yeah.
Just an interesting example. Colonial First State have 500,000 members, and they get 4,000 calls a month. That's about 1% of the members call up every month with a query that amounts to advice, which they can't answer.
Wow. So there's a big problem.
This is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And outsourced call centers are not the solution, whatever the problem is.
Yeah. So I think everyone, we just need to have a cold shower. Sure. But it's interesting. It's chalk and cheese. Australian Super, 1 hour call time. Aware Super, 10 minutes. But yeah, you kind of get what you pay for. And I'm not saying because the advice is cheaper when you go to your fund direct and they can provide intra-fund advice, and I'll get you to explain what that actually means. That is cheap. It's subsidized by all the members. There might be a wait. What's the problem? Like, sure, as their internal business metrics, they probably don't love that their customers are on hold for an hour. But I don't know. It's going to get more of a problem as this aging population needs to retire and get advice.
And the question in my mind is, is it fair that a 25-year-old with a $5,000 balance is going to subsidise advice for someone with $500,000 about to retire? That doesn't strike me as being particularly fair, and that's the problem.
If you're a communist, it's fair, Vince.
No,
you're a communist.
I don't think Carl would think that was fair. That Carl would probably have it the other way around. So this whole concept of services being paid for by the entire fund membership through their service fees or membership fees, which are being provided to a select subset of members, is problematic.
It doesn't happen anywhere else in society. Maybe tax and your hospital healthcare system, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But the challenge here is people expect these super funds to provide advice. All of the research, all the market research that the FSC or other people do, most people expect to be able to phone their super fund and go, the market's just tanked, should I move to cash? The law prevents that in general because that's personal advice, and most people that you're going to talk to at the call centre aren't licensed to provide personal advice.
But that's why most people are calling their fund as well.
Exactly.
I need help. What should I do?
How do you pay for that? There is a provision for collective payment for what's called intra-fund advice, which is really advice about your interest in the fund, which is really, can I start an account-based pension? And they're able to go, well, are you over 60? Have you met a conditional release? Here's your balance. You must take 4%, whatever. That's provided for. So as long as it's about your interest in the fund, then that's fine. But most people's assets are stretched well beyond their interest in the fund. They'll have a family home usually. They'll have a interest
and that's
in the fund,
interesting.
and they'll have
you can call your super fund for advice and get maybe free advice on the actual fund. But if you've got an investment property, some shares, some other lifestyle things, some downsides of things, you will need to pay extra if that fund offers the advice.
Yeah. And so many funds, not all, but many funds also provide member-paid funds where the individual member pays for it. Many of those advisors are limited. So every financial advisor has what's called an approved product list, which is the products on which they can provide recommendations. And many of the funds, not all, but many of the funds, limit their advisors to talking about their own products, which means if you're 100% confident that your fund is the answer, then getting personal advice from that fund is a very cheap way of getting it.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not going to, they're certainly, if you go to an Australian super advisor, they're not going to recommend you move to Host Plus.
I dare say no. So look, we're going to leave it there. It's a shorter episode today because we are recording in the ICC. I'm attending the South by Southwest festival and we've had a bit of trouble with security. And it's so funny, Vince. Like, I was sitting here for an hour before you got here with the audio gear up and, there's people filming with their iPhones everywhere. Set 2 cameras up. Everyone goes into meltdown. Like, it just blows my mind.
Yeah. I'm going to see Teddy Swims tonight at the Kudos.
Right.
Displaying my hipster millennial tendencies here.
I don't even know if I've heard who that is.
He sang at the NRL final.
I didn't even watch that.
But there's a list of requirements at the venue. So you're not allowed to have a camera that's got more than I think it's a 5 centimetre lens.
Yeah.
It's just...
Anyway, it blows my mind. We're in a public space. They've told us that we're in a public space. Yes, we don't need a pass. You don't need a pass to enter the public space, and you can film in here, but you can't film ICC staff or ICC logos. We're not doing any of that. And then another security comes and anyway, we're done. We're done. I just wanted to jump on and give everyone an update. We will do another episode in the coming weeks if we hear more changes around this super stuff. So Vince Scully from Live Sherpa, and you're on the show next week. We respond to some spicy comments that were in
I love a bit
Facebook.
of spicy responses.
All right, see you, friends.
Bye-bye.
Oh, and also, everyone, if you found this podcast useful, can you please see if you can share it with a friend or family member? It's really how we grow, and we love what we're doing here at Retire Right. So thank you very much, everyone, for having a listen today or a watch on YouTube. We'll see you later. Bye. Hey, it's Glen here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.